joining me today is Union Minister Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia. Mr. Jyotiraditya Scindia, as we speak today, the legend whose work actually personified trust, dignity, and ethics is bidding farewell. How do you remember Mr. Ratan Tata, a man who was a living legend?
Navika ji, Ratan Tata ji was a colossus. He was a titan. And I mean that in every sense. A man who exemplified the highest level of determination, the highest level of commitment, the ability to take risks where no one would venture, the ability to be able to foresee a future and then to embark on that path, knowing fully well the risks that it would entail. Those were the qualities of Mr. Ratan Tata. And in his lifetime, he stood steadfast to those values and those ideals. And look at the path that he trailblazed, right from the acquisition of Tetley in the UK, to the acquisition of Chorus through Tata Steel, and then through building the cheapest car in India, the Nano. Everyone said that this is not going to be possible. How can you build a car at that price point? And he said, I will show you. And he showed us all. The acquisition of JLR, Jaguar Land Rover, and the creation of TCS, Tata Consultancy Services. All of these is Ratan Tata ji's contribution not to the Tata Group, is Ratan Tata ji's contribution not to India, is Ratan Tata ji's contribution to the world. Most importantly, he was a man who stood by truth. He was a man who stood by values and principles. One of, I would say, the most unassuming person I have ever met in my life. I had the good fortune of knowing him for almost 4 decades. The Tata family and my family share a very, very long old history. Sir Jamshedji Tata, when he was looking for funding for Tata Steel, couldn't obtain it from the US and in Europe. My great-grandfather, Madhav Maharaj I, funded the full operation of Tata Steel because he knew that India needed infrastructure at that point of time. His son, J.R.D. Tata, when he, prior to independence in 1942, when he built Air India from scratch, my grandfather, Jyotiraditya Scindia, and he brought Air India to Gwalior in 1942. My father and Ratan Tata ji were 8 years apart. I remember meeting him in my Bombay house when I was 10 years old. Shared a long 43-year-old relationship with him. When I graduated from Harvard and came back as a banker with Morgan Stanley, went to him many times for advice and mentorship. The last few occasions, we invited him in 2016 as a chief guest for the Scindia School Founders Day. And the way, Navika ji, he engaged with every single child, went from one desk in the exhibition to the other, inquisitive, wanting to know the story. Every child was flocking to him for photographs, for autographs. So Mr. Ratan Tata didn't represent a generation. He represented multiple generations of India. I had the good fortune of having lunch with him 2 years ago with my wife and my son, introducing him to my son, who he has also mentored over the last 4 to 5 years. So for me, apart from it being a national loss, for me, it's a very, very personal loss. A loss of a human being, a person who believed in humanistic ideals, his passion for wildlife, his passion for dogs. I remember as a child in Bombay House, every stray dog was welcome. Every stray dog was fed. His love for not only the industrialists or the politicians that he rubbed shoulders with, but for every factory worker on the shop floor of the Tata Group, for every member of his staff. At the core, he was a human. At the core, he was a man who exemplified love and care. and we will miss him not only because he was a great leader and a great business leader, but more importantly, because he was a good human being who left his imprints not on our head and our mind, but in our hearts.